such a headache right now. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you have not been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. If at any point I look like I'm in pain, it's because I do have quite a headache at the moment. I have just had some paracetamol, so hopefully I'll kick in at some point. I think it's just that it's hot and I've been dealing with hot at the moment. I think everything is just culminating in just this horrible headache. So, I read King Henry V by William Shakespeare because it's been kind of a mission of mine to try and read Shakespeare plays that I never studied. And the ones that I studied at school, I studied Macbeth, that was the serious one. I studied Twelfth Night, I really enjoyed that. And then I've done little bits of Romeo and Juliet as well when I went to college and university. In college we were comparing Romeo and Juliet to West Side Story. And then at university it was Romeo and Juliet, and comparing that with Pyramus and Thisbe. So, yeah. So, I was wondering how I would get along with the language, because it's not something that comes natural to me, as for a lot of people, the Shakespearean language. So I thought I'd go in with something that I was vaguely familiar with, because Lee's Playhouse had Henry V a couple of years ago, and I really enjoyed the play and what they did with it, and how they modernised it. So I remember at the end, they brought in a bit of kind of an immigration storyline into it, which I thought was really clever. And I just thought, having seen it and being familiar with it on stage, it might help me understand it a bit more in written form. Now, there are parts of the play that are written entirely in French, and I do, apart from doing GCSE French, a lot of French is not in my mind anymore. So it's just like there's no point in me trying to read the French parts because I do not speak or really understand French. So yeah, kind of pointless. I got along with this better than I thought I would, language-wise, because I found that when I kind of just glazed over some of the more Shakespearean language and just reminded myself in the basics in regards to like thou and whence and all that, the language that you mainly associate with the time, I realised that actually a lot of it made sense if I just tried to read it like a normal piece of text rather than focusing on language being slightly backwards and things. I found that there was a lot of it that made sense in spite of the language. I'd say that this book was converted from its physical edition to the digital format by a community of volunteers, so thank you to the volunteers that have been adapting the books for ebook. And it says you may find it for free on the web. Purchase of the Kindle edition includes wireless delivery. So I had this on Kindle. I've got a few on Kindle that I've been making my way through. So let's see if I can just find a general blurb for King Henry V. Shakespeare's Henry V chronicles the military campaign of the young English king in France, culminating in the Battle of Agincourt. The play explores themes of leadership, war, and the responsibilities of a monarch. It features iconic speeches such as the St. Crispin's Day speech, and explores the complex relationship between the king and his people. So yeah, you got obviously the historical context. I think they said that this was one of the first things he did that really looked at history at the time for Shakespeare. There are some people who think that Shakespeare was the first person to do it, but then there's also other things saying actually no, he wasn't the first person to do a historical play. And you've just got that, when you think of Shakespeare and you think of dramatic Shakespeare, you think of war, death, tragedy, and I feel like this does feel like it's got all of that, but then there's also kind of a romance in there because he claims to fall in love with the Princess of France and tries to merge the countries and everything. But yeah, I was just quite impressed with how well I was able to understand the language, considering the fact that it wasn't the easiest for me to study at school. But I must admit I did get into it, and because obviously with Macbeth, you don't really see many, I can't think of anything that would be considered a modern adaptation of Macbeth, even though it is one of the famous ones and everybody knows pretty much what it's about. Hamlet is the one that's kind of had more of a modern adaptation, especially when you're looking at stuff like The Lion King. Everybody always says The Lion King is Hamlet in lion form. Comparing it to what I saw on stage and how it was adapted, and yeah, I enjoyed reading it, and it made me feel a bit better about going forwards into reading other ones that I'm not familiar with. If I look at what other Shakespeare plays I have on here, because when I first got Kindle, I went through and just looked at all the free stuff, as you do, yeah, and so I've got loads of books that I got either for free or for like less than £1. So yeah, I've got a lot on here to make my way through. So yeah, the other Shakespeare plays I've got on here are the Tragedy of Titus Andronicus, Two Gentlemen of Verona, King Richard II, The Winter's Tale, As You Like It, King Richard III, Othello, and A Midsummer Night's Dream. Those are the other ones that I have available to me on Kindle. And as I said, it's in the description that they were adapted by volunteers for ebook. So yeah, I don't know which one, but I'll probably go to another one that I know, which will probably be either Othello or A Midsummer Night's Dream next, and then I am also slightly familiar with As You Like It as well. The rest of them I'm not that familiar with, so I'm kind of easing my way in with the stuff that I do vaguely know before going on to the ones that I have no knowledge of the plot. So yeah, because I know so many people who studied A Midsummer Night's Dream. That wasn't my funny play, because I think as part of when I did my GCSEs, it was just like, we're going to do one tragedy and we're going to do one comedy. So my tragedy was Macbeth, and then my comedy was Twelfth Night. I love Twelfth Night so much. It is so good. And I love the fact that we do have the iconic Amanda Bynes movie that correlates with the plot of Twelfth Night. Oh, what was the movie called? It's gone completely out of my head. The one where she plays her brother. I keep wanting to say What a Girl Was. It's not What a Girl Was. That's a completely different film. She's the Man. She's the Man is the one that is adapted from Twelfth Night. So if you did not know that, now you can go in knowing that it was adapted from a Shakespeare play, and also it'll help. Having that modern adaptation will probably help you if you ever read Twelfth Night, because it is so good. And there was a version of Twelfth Night that we watched in class. Oh, what's the actress's name? She was in Bend Like Beckham, she was in ER. Oh, I've forgotten her name. What is her name? And no, I'm not talking about Keira Knightley. It is Parminder Nagra. Yeah, I saw a version of Twelfth Night that had Parminder Nagra in it, and it was such a good film. I'll have to see if I can ever track that down, actually, that film that we watched in class, because it was so good. But yeah, if you're someone like me who studied Shakespeare and wants to read more Shakespeare, just to have kind of like the knowledge in there, don't let the language put you off. Because I have a feeling that actually if you read it, knowing what you already know will already be a great help. But also, just trying to read it like it's not another language and concentrating on the words that you do understand, I think will greatly help you, like it did me. I'm just looking at Parminder Nagra's IMDb page to see if it actually is on here. It was definitely her. There was Twelfth Night or What You Will from 2003. Would that be about right? I would have been 14. So yeah, that would have been around about the time that I was studying it, because I studied it for GCSEs. So it's a multicultural version of the Shakespearean tale Twelfth Night, made in modern day society, featuring an Anglo-Indian cast. Was it a more modern version? I can't remember. That must be the version that I saw then. Apparently it was nominated for 2 BAFTA awards. Had 3 nominations total. That must have been the version I saw then. Apparently they did Twelfth Night and Macbeth. I remember that version of Twelfth Night, watching it while we were studying it, and it was just so good. So yeah, and plus, I think like at this point, I feel like Parminder Nagra has been like in everything. Everybody knows her, even if you don't realise you know her. And this goes on to a tangent about Twelfth Night and my GCSEs. But yeah, I was very happy that I understood it, that I actually did feel entertained by it. It didn't feel that long, but I will say that Kindle does have an issue where it doesn't always match up with actually how long the book actually is. Like, you'll feel like you're on page 1 for like 5 pages. Yeah, this is starting to flash at me, so I need to wrap up. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I am so glad that I did get along with the language better than I thought I would, and the fact that I did understand it. And yeah, is it one of my favourite Shakespeares? I feel like I will always have an affinity with the ones that I studied because I got to know them so well, but reading it, having seen the play, really was a help. But yeah, so don't be scared. If you want to do it, just read them, and you can always let me know how you got on. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and then I will see you next time with another video. And yes, I still have a headache. I love you all. Bye!